Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and the Great Hall is finally maxed. So I'm going to dive into all the numbers, let you know what the journey was and what I learned along the way now that it is finally done. Did a video about 5 months ago on how long I thought it was going to take and talking about how I thought the process was going to go. But now I can tell you exactly how it went, dive into the numbers, let you know exactly how long it took me, and give you some insight on what I learned during the journey. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, let's go ahead and pull up this little image I threw together where you can see a little timeline, and then on the bottom right, the order of priority that I would recommend upgrading these things, or how you should prioritize upgrading them in hindsight. Now, on the bottom right, when it comes to the order of operations on upgrading them, they're all important. Like, you can make a case for, oh, resistance is like one of the most amazing stats for Platinum Arena. You're gonna want that in Endgame Arena, and resistance is amazing in the Doom Tower. Like, you can make a case for every stat and its viability in different phases of the game, but just for a general guideline for early, mid-game, end-game, and all of those stats encompassing how I would prioritize them if I were to restart the game and play from scratch and redo it. That's kind of the order I would be thinking in my head when it comes to prioritizing these stats in the Great Hall down there on the bottom right. Then you can see the little timeline that I got up on the top of that image. I started playing, again, I don't think these are day exact. The one on the far right where I maxed out the Great Hall on March 27th, 2021, that is exact. But the start day was somewhere between like March 16th and March 22nd, somewhere in there. So I went with March 20th was about my start day. And then I tried to go back through my old videos and see at which point was I consistently farming gold 4. So because once I got to gold 4, I basically stayed there and farmed it at least a 90% win rate until I maxed out my Great Hall. I did what it took to kind of stay there and kept working on my account and getting better and better and better. So once I got to gold 4, I was able to stay there 99.9% of the time once I hit it. And that was around July 1st, 2019. It took about exactly 100 days from the time that I started playing the game until the time that I was farming gold 4 consistently. And then after that, you can see it took about 640 days from that point, from the time that I got gold 4 and stayed in gold 4 until I hit the maximum threshold of getting it finished. So I believe the whole process took about 738 days from the time that I started until the time that I maxed out the Great Hall. So if you say it took 100 days, it's about 638 days that it took me from being in gold 4 to go ahead and get all the medals necessary. Now, that is considering a few different variables. I operated the account at about 99% efficiently. It wasn't perfect, but I would say almost every day. I logged in and made sure my resources were below max. I made sure I was generating arena medals. I definitely tried to check it every few hours and at least do 1 or 2 arena matches. And then when I would wake up, do the normal daily routine, log in, do a clan boss match, and spend a couple arena tokens really quick. So I did a pretty good job. Obviously, no one does it perfect. You're gonna have some lapses in there where you sit on max keys, but definitely I paid a lot of attention to it, and I wanted to manage the account efficiently. And as a raid content creator, I'm pretty active on the account, so I would say about 99% efficiency on keeping the arena token matches available, generating and keeping those resources flowing. So I would say that's a pretty consistent timeline that people can expect, is about that 2-year window. It took me about exactly 2 years from March 20th, 2019 to March 27th, 2021. That should be pretty consistent because I did spend a fair amount of money on the game, but I never wailed out in the arena. Like, I never just went refill, 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 refill. And I never really bought packs that had arena refills in them. I kind of from the start, when I was theory crafting and doing the math, I was like, okay, I saw this day coming. So I was like, if I'm going to play the game for 2 or 3 years or even longer, I might as well spend my money on shards and energy for gear and things like that I won't max out, where I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I didn't prioritize my spending on arena refills and doing refreshes consistently. So definitely there's some room to do it faster. I know some of the people up in Platinum Arena that have spent a lot of money and really prioritize grinding that Great Hall. There's people that have done it in like 150 days. There's people that have just wailed out and grinded their Great Hall. So, but if you're free to play, probably gonna take somewhere around 2.5 years to 3 years, maybe even. It depends how active you are and the champions you have, how quick you can get to gold for. I would expect the average experience for maxing out your Great Hall to be somewhere between 20 and 30 months. It took me 24, and like I said, I did spend a fair amount of money in the game, but I didn't wail out on maxing out my Great Hall as fast as possible. So my experience was 24 months, and I expect most people to finish theirs if they're active, if they're an active daily player playing at least like 6 days a week and managing the account efficiently. I expect the norm to be somewhere in that 20 to 30 month mark for maxing out your Great Hall. And then remember, just a few things I want to touch on when you are on the way to maxing it out. Remember that the developmental level, or not, I keep saying development level of 240. I hear people a lot of times, they're like, oh, my Great Hall's at 120, I'm halfway done. No, it scales. It gets harder the longer, because obviously gold medals, it's going to cost a lot more to upgrade them. It keeps scaling. So at 120, you're not halfway done. The upgrades get tougher and tougher and tougher. As you get up to 200, it takes multiple days just to farm one upgrade, and then you get to like 220, 230, you're really grinding to get those upgrades done and really having to play a lot in the arena. So it's going to get harder the closer you get to 240. The first like 50 or 100 developmental, I did it again. The first 50 to 100 development levels are going to come a lot faster than those last 30 or 40. They're going to be quite the grind. And then another thing I want to touch on is the win rate. That's actually very important. So I was typically somewhere between like 95 and 99% win rate once I got my account to the end game and was rolling. Because if you're really diligent about your refreshes and diligent about the opponents you're picking out, if you're active on the account, you want to make sure you're getting a good win rate to make sure you're getting value out of those finite arena matches that you're getting per day. If you're down at like a 50% win rate, set a one-person defense and let people beat you up a little bit to drop you down a couple tiers so you can go against easier opponents and have some more success in being efficient with your medals. Ideally, you want to get to like an 80 or 90% win rate. If you're below that and you've got room to grow. Now, if you're in your first few weeks playing, don't worry, you're going to be in bronze 1 or bronze 2. But once you've got it rolling, your account is 100, 200, 300 days old, and you're into the grind of managing your Great Hall and your arena battles, if you're down around 60 or 70% win rate, think about setting that one-person defense and dropping down just a little bit so you can be more efficient with those fights. And then when you do get the Great Hall maxed out, since the addition of the Forge, you do actually need to keep fighting in the arena to grind the Magisteel that you get from arena wins. So I am going to continue to fight in the arena and do my daily farming. Hopefully they will expand the Great Hall in some sort of way. I'm sure this game surpassed their expectations in terms of how successful it was going to be. So if people are going to be playing this game for 4 or 5 years, it'd be unfortunate to have your Great Hall be maxed for 2 or 3 years while you're playing. So hopefully they'll come up with something. Maybe they'll add a crit rate to this, or they'll come up with some sort of thing they can add, or maybe trade in your gold medals that are sitting there for something, trade them in for energy or pages for books. There's a lot of ideas we could come up with, but really not a priority for the game, because I would venture to guess maybe somewhere 1 or 2% of players have their Great Hall maxed. A lot of the super endgame, like probably most of the people in Platinum Arena, are going to have their Great Hall maxed. And then a lot of people that have been playing for about 2 years or so are probably going to have it maxed. But probably 1 or 2% of the player base in total has it maxed. If I had to guess or put a number on it, maybe I'll do a fun poll on the channel and see if we can get an actual number or some representation for what that number would be. But that's just an estimate of mine. But yeah, anyway, hopefully, since with how successful Raid is and how many years we're hoping that it's popular, hopefully we'll get some sort of an expansion to the Great Hall and just have a little bit more options and things we can do with it for some of those people that are in the super end game and have gotten it maxed out. But that will do it for what I wanted to cover in this video. I just wanted to wrap up my journey on maxing the Great Hall, give you some of my final thoughts, maybe things that I would have done differently, or what I would be thinking if I restarted in terms of the prioritization of the different abilities, and then just a quick kind of discussion about the journey from going from 0 to max and laying it out on a timeline from start to finish as to how that process went for me. So let me know how it's going for you down in the comments. I would love to hear your input on the Great Hall journey and maxing out. I always enjoy reading through the comments and seeing what you guys have to say down there. So as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.